Okay. Okay. I'm back. Hey, I see you popping back in. I'm so sorry. Something happened. When you pop back in, just say hey. Say who you are and say hey. Hello? Okay. So we had some technical difficulties, but we're back. Hi, can you hear me now? 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 I think I lost a bunch of you. So I'm going to chat a little bit as we're coming back up. Just a little bit about kind of what I want to leave you with, and then I want to talk about hi guys. As you come back in, just say hi, so I know who you are and who you're there. I'm going to type it too. Say hi when you pop back in. So cool. So as hi Brittany, thank you for coming back. Sorry, the sound went crazy when I tried to play it from my iPad. So as we come back in, I want to talk to those of us that are here about what I think that like storytelling and theater and music and dance and all of that can do for you, right? Because I think ultimately it's a crazy life. It's a crazy life to decide to move away from your family and try something crazy with a ridiculous success rate and a lot of risk involved. But what it does for us as human beings is awesome because it allows you to find out what it is about life that interests you. I know friends who have died to be actors, died to be movie stars, and then they've realized that their passion actually lies in music, and they produce, or they write, or they do they play in orchestra pits on Broadway, and about how your interests kind of unfold, yes, as things happen in your life. You discover new things. So I just want to say to you, if you have any interest whatsoever in anything, whether it's being an actor, being a musician, being a lawyer, being a doctor, try it. Find out if it's something that gets you excited. Because at the end of the day, I don't feel like I work a day in my life. I feel like I get to show up and work with interesting and creative people and do my very, 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 hi guys, I'm back, I'm back, I'm back. We're talking about life. Do whatever you're interested in. You don't have to make a living at it either. That's like such a crazy thought. It was awesome if you do, but like how great to fill your life with things that you love. In the beginning, when I was out, I did all the things. I waited tables, I catered, I handed out flyers in Times Square, I cleaned bathrooms, like I did the whole thing. But the rest of my life was filled with something that I loved. So please find something that you love to do that makes you want to get out of bed in the morning. I know we only have a few of us here now because I kicked myself off audio-wise, but do you have any questions about this crazy life, about this crazy business, about this crazy anything in the last remaining minutes that we have together? I'd love to talk about it. I'd love to talk about you. I'd love to talk about your interests, and I'd love to talk about things that you're curious about. So do not be shy. Let me know if there's something that you want to know or you want to share. As I wait for you to curate a question, I just want to continue this idea of trying and experimenting and knowing that the most important thing you can do is try. And the most important thing you can do is make an attempt at something so that you know if you like it, and you know if you feel like it makes magic in you and that you can change the world through it. Rachel, I may have missed this, but do you sing as well, or do you just do choreography? I used to sing a lot, actually, and a friend of mine is on here, Eric, who I studied with in school, and we sang together a lot. So if we could do a split screen thing, we probably could like do a little number from 2002. But I do. I don't anymore. This kind of feeds into the question that what I was just talking about what makes you feel purposeful and what makes you feel excited when you get out of bed in the morning, right? And I loved that. I loved it. I loved that life. I loved making music. I loved making music with Eric. I loved making music with my friends. I loved making music for other people. And then one day something changed, and I don't know really if I can tell you what it was, but something shifted in me. And I knew that my purpose every day was different. And what I wanted to use my voice for was different and shifted. It's not what I wanted to sing that felt important anymore, but what I wanted to say working with others through dance, through talking to young people. The reality is we're all going to get old, and we're all not going to be able to do this forever. And so I'm at a funny place in my life where I hope I still have a lot in front of me, but there also is a lot behind me. And when you get to a place like that where you can observe life from two sides, I think, you start to look backwards, and you start to look to young people. And you start to encourage young people, and you start to mentor young people, because whatever little piddly lessons I've learned along my way might help them attain 5,000 times of success or identity or bravery than I ever have. And so, so that's what shifted. Yes, that's a very long-winded way of answering that question, isn't it, Rachel? I do sing, but I don't anymore as a job, because I like helping other people sing now. I think that's what gets me out of bed in the morning. Anybody else? Any other questions? Any other questions? I know we only have a few people in but think. And with that, as I kind of cadence this conversation, kind of along the lines of Rachel's question, I think the most powerful thing we have, I think the most powerful thing young people have, is their voice. And I think that that doesn't mean you have to sing. That doesn't mean you have to be an actor. That doesn't mean you have to put yourself out in front of people. But the most important instrument we have is this, and being able to stand up for people and being able to speak for people who are unable to speak for themselves, and to be a louder voice for people whose voices aren't lifted high enough. And that's what I mean when I say the work shifted for me, and what I wanted to do for a living shifted for me. For some people, that means becoming wonderful teachers. For some people, that means becoming judges. For some people, that means becoming politicians. For some people, that means becoming people who start fantastic community programs like the Garage. But every single one of those people we're talking about uses their voice to make the world a better place than they left it. Eric Carter Thompson. Hello, Eric Carter Thompson. What advice would you have for any students thinking of auditioning for college programs? Okay, so yeah, college programs are bananas these days, because when I was starting to study, there were just a few, and now there's so many to choose from. I think the most important part is it's okay to not know what you want to do with your life. And if you think you want to be an actor, you should go try to be an actor. And in a year or two, you're going to know if you want to be an actor or not. And guess what? If you decide you don't, there's still time to do something else. Because even if you're old like me, there's still time to do something else. Of course, you want to make sure that you're using your time wisely. But there's the biggest lie that we've told ourselves as a society is that, one, we have plenty of time because there's never enough time. And two, that you have to know everything right now. And the most powerful words in the English language are, I don't know. So I think that it's helpful if you're trying to be an actor in auditioning for college programs, know what makes you swoon artistically. If you want to be a ballet dancer, you probably know that. If you want to focus on music, you probably know that. If you were like me, you didn't know what you wanted to do, and you found something that kind of did all of those things. Visit as many places as you can, and find teachers who you love. If you could ever sit in on a class, that is so illuminating how teachers interact with students, and not just with what we're talking about, but if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be, even if you want to go play football for a school, you might get an awesome scholarship from this great big school that you're dying to go to, and you might go sit in a class and hate it. So teachers are the most important thing in the equation. Good teachers change the world. Hey, Pop. Hey, what's up? So any other questions? I think I've got like a few more minutes to talk about some questions. But I just want to say again, as we're kind of beginning the wrap up, that I just think it's awesome that you guys are together, even in this crazy time where things are separate. And I think have places like the Garage are essential right now, and the work that they're doing is great, and the fact that they're keeping the community together is awesome in this time where we kind of can't always be together, if at all. And I'm so grateful to have had some time today to talk to you about why I think what I do is important. It's kind of irrelevant. It kind of doesn't matter why I think it's important. What matters is why you think it's important. And even paramount to that why you think what you do is important, and why you think what your choices are important, and what you stand for is important. So thank you for giving me 45 minutes today, and listening to my crazy stories about show business. Brittany, what was one of the craziest things you had to do for a job? This is good. Well, actually, there's two. There's two crazy things. One was one of the weirdest, like craziest, like I can't believe that happened. Was I was brand new to New York, and it was Christmas time, December, and actors when they're new to the city, or you're a terrible waiter, and like you need to make money and you don't know what to do, you can sign up for these like temp agencies, right, that get you these jobs, to like temporary jobs for a weekend or for a week or a month or whatever. And sometimes people decide that that's kind of security is something they love, and they end up becoming ad salespeople. They sell ads in airline magazines or whatever, which I did, but and I didn't like it. But one time I got a phone call and they said, "Can you work at I don't remember the number. Is it One Times Square? Like right in the middle of Times Square, the big tall building." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So it was they paid pretty well, and I was like, "Okay, it's like a day and a half's worth of work." So I show up, and I walk up to the building, and it's the building that the ball drops on, right? And so they bring us up to the roof, and we were people who were like shuttling donors, these big donors for this charitable organization, from like this observation deck all the way up to the New Year's Eve ball. So we're like teetering through these stairs and climbing up ladders to let people take like pictures in the windy cold, like 40 stories above Times Square. That was nuts. So, there's a picture of just like leaning on the New Year's Eve ball. And then the craziest thing that is that people talk about a lot, my friends talk about a lot. Nobody really talks about it, but when I moved to New York, I did really well really quickly. And I was really lucky for like 2 years. And then I could not get an acting job. I couldn't get a job. Which is a problem because I'm a terrible waiter and you need to eat. So I ended up getting a job working on Broadway shows, but backstage. And I got a job working for the wardrobe department, which is the department that when a costume designer comes in and designs a beautiful show, they leave when it starts and it opens, right? And the wardrobe department takes care of everything. So if a button falls off, they have people and so there's maintenance, right? But then there's also these people called dressers who dress the show. And what that means is if you're watching Wicked, the scene ends and all the actors leave, and there's usually a little scene happening with 2 or 3 people while everybody off stage is changing clothes. And so what dressers do is they bring whatever that actor needs to change into, and you're standing there in the wings of the theater with a flashlight in your mouth and with a puddle of clothes all around you. And the actor comes running off stage, and in like 45 seconds takes everything off, puts everything back on. There's usually like a new wig that gets put on. They take a breath and they turn out and they go and they do the next thing. Well, I became a dresser because the schedule was awesome. I had my days free to audition when I was acting, and I worked at night, and I was still working on a Broadway show. I was still dressing friends. I was working with friends, and I got to see theater in a really interesting perspective, from the side and from behind, and I got to see a lot of I learned a lot of lessons about what to do and what not to do. And a lot of the what not to do, sometimes those people didn't know they were teaching me the what not to do. But just being in the room helped me learn and helped me learn the type of human being I wanted to be, but also how I wanted to treat people who I didn't work anywhere full time, you know. So like, what would happen is they'd call because somebody got sick, and I have learned something. Learned, say, this Wicked person's track or this Phantom of the Opera's person track, and so then you'd run down to the theater and like you would dress the show. So I wasn't in the building every day, so nobody knew me well. I was an employee, right? And it's illuminating how people treat employees as opposed to team members. Yeah. And I learned a lot. That I think is like the craziest lesson job I've ever had about how like the school of life, and crazy stuff. Like I got to dress Susan Sarandon when she was doing a play called Exit the King. I dressed an actor called Jeffrey Rush, who the day I was working for him really got an Oscar nomination. You know, and then life is crazy, right? Like now I have kind of come into a new circle where I'm doing different things and new things with my life that happen to be a little bit in charge. And so now some of those people who I was dressing come in front of me for a job. And I am kind of like an elephant, and you never forget. You never forget the way people make you feel. And there are people who make you feel good, and there are people who make you feel bad. And I've just learned that when my feet hit the ground every morning, I just want to use the work I get to do in life and in the arts to make people feel good. Brittany, that's like the longest winded, craziest jobs answer I think anybody's ever had. But those are the two craziest jobs I've had. Anyway, anybody else have any questions? I'm gonna let you guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening. Thank you to the Garage. Thank you for having me. I would love to see you in person one day. And thank you for spending your Mystery Wednesday evening with me. I'm sorry for the audio faux pas. And thank you for those who are coming back, and for those of you who are watching on YouTube later. Thank you, guys. Happy 4th. Be well, be safe. And thank you.